Ah, it works. Is everyone back and unmuted?
Hello. I'm here.
Need to unmute selves. Sorry.
Hello.
Hi. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Learning Space. I am Nicole Gugliucci, postdoc with the CosmoQuest project, and I have down at the end my lovely co-host Georgia Bracey.
Hello there.
We are the formal and informal twin pillars of CosmoQuest education, or something like that. So, and we have with us today, we have Dr. Bidium with her fantastic squid hat. Yay! As the coordinator who wrangled all the cats for the do-it-yourself science zone at Geek Girl Con, which we'll be talking about. And in the Cthulhu hat, we have Dr. Mr. Francis. Sorry, I'm gonna call you that forever. Matthew Francis is.
That's okay, Noisy.
That's fine. Is a regular on the Weekly Space Hangout and does all the science blogging and also runs Cosmo Academy at CosmoQuest. And so you helped with the Do-It-Yourself Science Zone as well. So yay and welcome and thank you guys. So I forgot to turn on the Q&A app beforehand, so sorry about that. But you can comment, ask questions, say hello, all the usual things on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, we're watching those comments on the page there. And I'm attempting to use Comment Tracker, but it's different now, so it doesn't work as well. I'm also watching the event page. If you're watching the event page on Google+, you can comment and say hello and ask questions there as well. So please feel free to join in and share the link and do all that fun stuff. So, yay. Let's start off with the basics. We did this event at Geek Girl Con. So what is Geek Girl Con for those who don't quite know what that is?
So Geek Girl Con is an organization that focuses on the contributions of women to all kinds of geeky pursuits. So you've got the hard physical sciences, science fiction, fantasy, horror, tech, all that stuff. And of course, once a year, there's actually the con. So there's programming going on all year, and then, which seems to be now, it's going to be in October, it's a 2-day conference. And so there's all types of programming. Maybe a little bit different from some other sci-fi cons is that there's a whole kind of hard physical sciences, computing, and tech programming track. In addition to pop culture, sci-fi, horror, fantasy, cosplay, all, arts and
fictional nerd pursuits.
Yes, they're all of the geek gumbo, if you will.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So yeah, so we went along to that. It was October 19th and 20th. It's in Seattle. Is it always in Seattle every year?
It is always in Seattle.
Okay.
Yes.
And it was my first time at that con. So it was really fun, even though I didn't actually get to go to many of the amazing panels I saw on the program because I was playing with science. So where did you get the idea to do the science zone?
So last year, I was on Geek Girl Con staff. It's all volunteer staff of about 35, 45 people. And I was on staff working the con last year, and there was always a gaming zone. So this year was just year 3 of Geek Girl Con. And since its first start, there's always been a gaming zone, which is both tabletop games and electronic games. And it was multi-room. And they had this really cool activity where you could, with a box of, potpourri of stuff, you could build your own game. And I'm in this room thinking, oh my gosh, we need a place where you could do your own science. We need a do-it-yourself science zone, like they have the gaming zone. Yeah. And as soon as I had the idea, I told another staffer, Christine Hassel, who's the Twitter admin for Geek Girl Con, and just started harassing people and wrangling cats and getting funding together and working with the staff to get a space and start cooking up experiments. You've been to this con now, Nicole and Matthew, and cons like it. You have to really think about experiments that are not only interesting and fun, but that aren't fire hazards. Washington Convention Center does not really have a sense of humor about open sparks or flames.
Can't blame them.
And they don't really like it when you like spray fun chemicals everywhere, you know, that are bright colors or maybe glow in the dark. They don't. They don't think that that's fun either.
Has this happened in previous cons?
I'm not saying. I'm saying that. So that was a challenge too, and then to rope people together. Part of the thing was not only to get people to have a place where they could just tinker with short, you know, fairly fast experiments or projects, but I also wanted to bring certain people there. Mm-hmm. So people who are really passionate about outreach, that's kind of their thing that they love to do, so scientists. But also, I didn't want all the scientists to look like all the scientists that people think scientists look like, namely the dorks on the Big Bang. So I wanted the scientists that I knew, the ones that look like myself, that look like my friends and colleagues and peers. So I wanted to round up a diverse set of scientists to reflect the community that they would be working with. And so that took a little bit of wrangling as well, but I think it was worth it to get the diversity of projects and to get the diversity of people. I think really made the zone special.
Here's our
people.
Here's our diversity of people. This is day one, the very lovely group picture we took before we got mobbed with con goers. And yeah, I mean, just covered every science basically, and had all kinds of people in costume and younger people, and it was really fun.
So did all these people, everybody brought their own project to sort of share, or did you actually have materials there that people could come in and just do their own science?
Oh, we supply, yeah, that was part of the fundraising effort is people said, okay, if like I did slime GAC. So part of the fundraising effort was to buy all the supplies. Everything was shipped to Seattle, and the staff with Geek Girl Con was great because we held everything in their storage unit before we moved it into the con on Friday, because we only get 24 hours to set up the entire convention center for a 2-day con. And so they had just had a huge medical conference, so they're flipping it, and we're moving everything in on Friday. So you guys brought the Great Crater Experiment, so you guys kind of brought those supplies with you. But
we were one of the few separately funded.
Yeah. But as far as everything else, DNA extraction, GAC, we got a coffee shop to donate for coffee ground fossils, magic breath, and hydrogen prints. Everything was ordered and shipped there and unpacked and prepped Friday. That was kind of my all-day job with Geek Girl Con staffers that were there to help me with the zone. And then Maria Villavara, who's a professor at Seattle Central Community College, helped out as well, as did Tori, who works at Shoreline Community College. We had some great local people that were also helping us kind of do logistics on the ground to buy like last-minute supplies. Frozen strawberries, couldn't ship those, so we had.
And we ran out of cocoa powder. You guys got us some extra cocoa powder too.
We ran out of some supplies on day one. I planned for about 300 people, so we were pretty well covered for most things. But DNA was super popular. The craters were super popular. So those are the two that we had additional supplies for. So everything from, you know, test tubes to paper towels was paid for by our great donors. And most of the money was raised by just people giving $5, $10. We had a couple of big donors, Chemical and Engineering News, which is a magazine of the American Chemical Society, kind of gave us a bigger chunk. But by far.
These guys helped out in a different way.
Geek gave us some prizes because we gave away prizes. We had exploration badges so people could get punches, which also were drawing tickets. And they gave us some great kind of science-themed prizes to kind of, you could get at least do 3 experiments and you would be entered to win the drawing. So those were helpful. But really the main bread and butter for funding everything was small donations of $5 to $10, so there's no amount is too small. We had lots of those, and $20 ones that really added up, and we raised over $5,500 because we were able to support travel, a couple hotel rooms, and all of our supplies. And then the con staff itself gave everybody 2-day pass. And then, of course, printing and all the kind of support, advertising costs were waived. So it was really, everything worked out.
Yeah. Matthew, how did you get involved in this madness? While I show a picture of you showing kids craters.
There we go. Well, actually, Ray approached me. Dr. Rubidium asked me to join as one of her hench people, and I cannot say no. It's I used to run direct a planetarium in Tennessee, and so I've done a great deal of public outreach of this sort. I was surprised how many kids were actually there. I think that's unusual. But yeah, you can see there in that picture that those are two of the youngest kids we had, I think, that day. We had a wide variety of ages, but there were some kids there that were quite young, but also older kids who really were very, very interested in all the science we showed them. So that sort of thing is definitely my game. And some great costumes too from the kids and adults alike.
Yeah, it was a very friendly con. I don't see that level of younger participation at, say, something huge like Dragon, because they'll probably just get done in the crowds. Let's be honest.
It's a very it's a huge age range.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very diverse con.
Yeah.
And it's very family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's programming that's specifically aimed at all age groups, and kind of family-friendly spaces, and they really put that. And so you saw, and I think in the zone you just saw kids of all ages, if you will. You saw the 4-year-olds all the way to 45-year-olds and 70-year-olds, playing it with stuff, and so that was really fun to see. Lots of teens, which was nice. And so that's what I really liked about Geek Girl Con is it was a busy couple of days, good traffic. You could tell that the con, they sold out their passes on Thursday, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And so being year 3, it was pretty exciting for them to sell out. But it's also a good mix of ages, and not everybody that came into the zone is interested. You had such age ranges that they just are interested in science and learning. Maybe they're not a scientist. They don't want to be a scientist. They just wanted to tinker and have some fun.
Right.
And that's really what the zone is for, is just to kind of have a few minutes one-on-one, because a lot of the times that was another benefit, was the ratio of experimenter to scientist. It was a tight group a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, 2-3 people per person running a project, you really had a lot of interaction. And so I think that's important for, if most people don't know a scientist, then they can see that you're not this kind of robotic stereotype, socially awkward. That you're quite then. No.
Did you get more girls than boys given the event, or was it just a mix? Anything you can...
I'd say so.
You did more? Were there more?
Yeah, a picture of showing here has all girls, but I think it was a good mix.
Yeah, I would say it wasn't. It was more girls than boys, but there were plenty of boys there too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought it was a good mix, age-wise, and I thought it was a good mix gender-wise. It is Geek Girl Con. I think, unfortunately, people, kind of sometimes jokingly say, "Oh, can boys and men go?" Of course they can. But I think sometimes maybe that filters that kind of misunderstanding. It's just that it's focused on the contributions of women to science, technology, and pop culture. But I think we did have I think one of the first people that I helped on day 1 was a boy and his father.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a really good mix. And then the next group that came in were 3 people. I'd say they were in their late 20s. So you would go from helping, an 8-year-old boy with his dad to helping, 3 20-somethings.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that I like that part, to see that kind of range coming through. Was really fun, and have them working side by side. Strangers, kids, adults, maybe family members, doing stuff together. That was a lot of fun to see.
I heard a couple of comments about how they were so excited to have role models that their kids could talk to right here, and they had questions about science, which was really great too. I think we saw a couple of them at the science careers panel as well. Some of the older kids, not really kids, I guess college age, came to a science career panel as well.
And I think that that's important to see that, especially that they look like you, that they talk like you, and that they have maybe a similar life experience to you, and that they still get to have fun and play, and the breaking down of whatever the stereotypes are people think about scientists, that this is just regular set of people. Well, kind of regular.
Kind of, yeah. Last time I said that I was wearing an ET costume, which is almost as silly as the hats. So.
Yeah, the hats kind of belie that idea.
It's normal for the con environment.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And they got to ask all kinds of questions. It's kind of fun to have a parent go, so how much schooling did you have to go to?
Yeah, how much math did you take?
They give the side eye to their kids, going, listen to this answer, So that was a lot of fun, because I think that's the thing about having, because we had about 15 people that signed up to help at various times, and we had about 10 projects, so that gave us some opportunity to rotate people in and out, but it also gave people that were coming into the zone a low ratio, so they could really interact. Especially, I think that's really key for kids and teens that just want to find out. And if you look at your again, you'll see that most of the zone workers were female.
I'm gonna show the day 2 costume picture because Nick Fury.
We had 3 African American PhDs, and all of us in different fields. Of course, we had our white male, we had Latino, we had Asian, we had different physical abilities. We had different. I think we covered literally every scientific discipline. Yeah. And I think that's really fun for adults and kids to see. That that there's such a range in people doing this work, and I think it was funny because they were like, "You guys are just doing this because?"
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. What kind of kid questions did you get? Anything typical or just everything?
Oh, all kinds. I think I did mostly slime and GAC, and so we had all kinds of questions about polymers. They learned about monomers versus a polymer. Why things are certain colors. Even something as simple as dilute. They got to make their own colored slime and GAC, but they noticed that when I mixed this color in with this color, that it looked different. And so it was the range of questions, and not just kids. I mean, adults, because they're maybe not scientists, or they're just interested. So we had all kinds of questions, and then they had questions about what you do for fun. But I think they thought we were at work.
This is what we do for fun, guys.
This is what we do for fun. Is I'm having with you. So it was really all kinds of questions. What did you guys have over there at Craters? You guys were doing cool space stuff. Space is always fun.
Yes.
I'd say we had a lot of questions too, like all the questions about. One thing that we had that was a lot of fun is actual chunks of meteorite.
Space rock that I keep in my purse.
Yes, space rock, and the thing is, when you show that kind of thing, people do ask. There we go.
It is in my. It is actually in my purse all the time. It's a Chellybanks meteorite. Thank you, Richard Drum.
But the thing is, when you have that, you know, that sparks a lot of questions like, you know, what is this actually made of? What's all the, because you can see that the chunk of the Chelyabinsk meteorite is you know, not one piece, one material. There's bits of different minerals in it, and so so you have to ask the question, you know, why does it look the way it? You can talk about fun stuff like these are the, you know, this is a piece of rock that is 5 billion years old. Well, give or take. You know, it's as old as the solar system, but it's older than any rock on Earth, because back when that meteoroid formed, all the rock on Earth was melted. It was molten. So you can talk about that, and you know, I think a few people kind of got the sense of awe that comes from holding a piece of rock that old. You don't really think about ages necessarily when you're thinking about meteorites. At least I don't. But maybe we should, because that's a pretty wild thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we had a lot of questions though, and I think the kids liked, a lot of the kids just liked, you know, figuring out what kinds of craters they could make.
And then accidentally discovering some of the marbles that we used as our fake meteors were magnetic. That was really fun.
that was fun.
I did that semi on purpose.
Well, magnets are always fun anyway.
Yes, yes. And then the iron meteorite, which still has cocoa powder and flour in its crevices, because some kids thought, oh, I can throw that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, tried to stop them as much as possible, but yeah.
Once one person did it, it was done. I mean, it was just done. So, yeah, I need to clean it. So, I'm sorry, Fraser, this is the one you gave me.
Take a toothbrush to it.
Yes, there we go. Take a toothbrush to it. Yeah, so we got questions about the space rocks. We got, since we were showing the CosmoQuest Citizen Science stuff, we were, you know, got to give them, you know, little cards with the website on it to take home and try with their parents. So that was really good. And we got some questions like, how do you become an astronomer? Like, what do you do all day? You know, kind of things like that.
I mean, that's, yeah, part of it is you had a lot of questions. I mean, there were a couple different chemists, but we all did different things, right? There were a couple different physicists, but you all, you know, I mean, Stephen is a physicist, but now he's working kind of in a different area, more on maybe the engineering side. And then so that was the great thing about having those types of questions. But then when you had something like DNA extraction, Lolly was running DNA extraction from strawberries, and then Stephen was running the taste test, the genetic taste test. Some really great questions, you know, basic science questions, even kind of pretty advanced stuff about, you know, genes and hereditary things. And so I think there was some really fun in there. And then of course, just, you know, anything you have that you can actually see something and be like, what? Like,
I'm holding DNA. Yeah.
That was really, I mean, that's the fun thing, is to see that look on everyone's face. That wasn't just a look on, you know, a 7-year-old. That was a look on their, you know, 40-year-old parent's face. And, you know, so it was, I think that was, to me, the best part. And of course, my favorite moment was when a kid, I got sent an email from a parent who's good friends with another staff member, and she's like, okay, let's go eat. And the kid said, I don't want food, I want all the science. I was like, that's right.
That's how we roll.
That's
all
how
the
we
science.
roll. No time for food.
This is a good picture of I think it's showing of a couple of participants. It looks like a child and adult watching their fingerprints being made by Chem Jobber, I think, right?
That's Chem Jobber,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we had a good variety. I hope to be back next year, and to maybe even expand it a bit.
So what are your plans? What are your grand plans? Oh, first let's talk about the fundraising, since like you said, it was mostly community supported. And how did that go?
I was really worried at first, but I think, we were able to cover a significant part of most people's travels. I mean, people still had to pay their own, kind of per diem every day, but we were able to assist in people that needed travel support about $400 for airfare. That was kind of on average. So that was really nice. And then I got a hotel room, 2 rooms, so we crammed, our everybody in 2 rooms near the hotel, so we didn't have to worry about transport. And so we were able to raise, of course, the first thing we purchased, especially once we were given free passes as contributors to the con, which saved us, oh gosh, I'd say $400 or $500 because we had so many passes we needed. Then we were able to buy supplies. So we probably ended up spending about, between the stuff we had ordered and the stuff we had to buy there, I'd say about $1,500 in supplies. I think the most significant part of our budget, which is any kind of this type of activity, is going to be accommodations and travel.
But no one actually got paid for it. We were going on our own money.
Everybody, everyone showed up Friday. They worked, from 8 o'clock in the morning until probably 7 o'clock at night, with really no breaks. And so, and then Sunday we did it all over again, and everyone helped break down and pack up supplies, and then we donated extra supplies. Chemical consumables and those types of things went to Science Olympiad that is hosted at Seattle Central Community College.
Awesome.
So they took a lot of stuff off of our hands, and we donated that to them, as we said we would.
That's really cool.
So the fundraising efforts, it was all, again, most of the donations were small, and every bit helped. And we were able to bring in. We only started fundraising in August, and so that was amazing to me that we were able to get that kind of support to be able to bring. And I think I really want to thank the people that came and participated, because the people that were working, there are a lot of great scientists, but it takes something to be able to donate that much energy. People were on from the minute they got there, and they were participating with people. You're really on stage. Anyone who's ever taught knows what that's like. But you were on stage for 12 hours. And so Lolly was probably our resident expert, because she is a high school biology teacher. So this is like routine for her, right? Like whatever.
That's why she looked so cool through the whole thing. I was just like,
the whole thing, she was like, no problem. Yeah, the rest of us who taught maybe university like an hour, 2 a day, we're like, oh my. But to really kind of not just be there, but be there 150% enthusiasm all day, and to really share the natural passion you have for science and discovery with people. And so I think that this was, and everybody worked so great together, and we're able to cover different areas, and so I think it was a group to bring to the con.
So then what do you have planned for the future? What are you not maybe planned, but scheming to do for the future?
Scheming. Well, I'd love to, right now I'd love to go back to Geek Girl Con 2014. I just think that particular con and that staff, they're very supportive of the hard science track and programming-wise and space-wise, and they really helped out in a way that I don't think a lot of cons would, as far as accommodations with shipments and picking stuff up. And Melanie, the director of operations, inventoried all of our supplies for us to make sure we were getting anything that we ordered. All of that kind of extra stuff, and working with design to come up with the flyers. So I'm really hoping to be back 11th and 12th of next year. But I'd really like to see this. That's on the West Coast. I'd love to have a DIY science zone, a place where people can tinker at a con like this on the East Coast, or maybe somewhere in the middle part of the country. I think it's not just an idea of trying to entice people into the sciences, but I think Sometimes, it gets so we need more and more scientists. I think I just want people to maybe science literacy in the basic way, the exploration, the discovery, the fun of science, knowing that you can find answers to, why does this do this? Why do raisins sink and then float in carbonated soda? What's that all about? You know what I mean? So I would love to see this, the DIY Science Zone be able to go. I mean, of course, it would be insane if it was like at New York Comic Con or something crazy. Yeah. But I think it would be a lot of fun to see if you could do something at a con like that, or at like Dragon Con, or even back in Seattle, Emerald City Comic, to get people to have. If we get people to build their own game, we can get them to do their science experiment, and I think we've proved that.
And I think I'm currently involved in convergence planning for Minneapolis, so Melanie is on programming committees for that. So we're trying to entice you to do it-yourself science on there too, and I think it is going to come down to fundraising, of course, to be able to get everyone there. But that's another con that seems very family-friendly to me, and already has these hands-on space set up and covered in plastic.
Yay!
So
yes, tarps are key.
We can take over. Yes. Science is messy.
I think we are planning. I'm planning on being there and doing Invisible Ink, which is another fun one. That's low tech. That is a lot of fun and a good historical perspective.
Nice.
As well as being some fun chemistry. So I think it's just like with the gaming and tabletop games have really seen insurgence, is being able to be tactile, and get your hands in there. Mm-hmm. And there's something about like your create experiment. There's computer modeling and there's pictures, and that's great. But there's something about being able to drop the marble into the cocoa powder.
And make a giant... my Star Trek uniform was covered in flour. It was It was amazing. Yeah. And
everything was covered in flour and cocoa.
I'm still getting it out of my laptop. Matthew, maybe you can talk more about the tactile experience some of the kids had, literally.
That was a lot of the youngest kids were just they got their hands right in and were like kneading around. It's like, they're going to get everybody sick. Whatever they've got on their hands is going to be transmitted to everybody else. Yep. So
the best part is whatchamacallit? I just lost my train of thought.
Uh-oh.
Whoa, sorry, I saw a comment and lost my train of thought. There was something. I don't know.
It's okay, Nicole.
That's all right.
Oh, no, I remember. Best part was the parents apologizing to us for their kids making a mess. They're like, we're the ones providing the messy materials. We should be apologizing to you. So.
Well, that was a stroke of genius on Melody's part to put the zone where it was. The bathrooms were as close as they could possibly be.
Yes. A lot of them had to leave our station, go to the bathroom, and then come back to keep doing other experiments.
Same thing with the slime. Yeah, so that was... Yeah.
The coffee ground fossils were another one that people ended up needing to wash their hands after that one.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, at least that one was...
That's almost exfoliating.
Self-contained. Yeah,
that's true.
It's not
coffee scented Play-Doh.
That's one I don't know. Did any of you guys, do you know that one? Can you describe what that is?
I don't remember all what she mixed. It was coffee
grounds. It was basically Play-Doh with coffee in it.
It sounds so interesting.
She made her own Play-Doh using coffee grounds.
Yeah, with coffee grounds, I think flour and a bit of salt.
I think she did use flour.
A skosh of water, just to get the right kind of tackiness.
Yeah.
It really held together really well, but she was able to reuse it a lot too, like you guys were doing.
Yeah, and they had these little dinosaur things. This little guy was great.
Yes!
Oh my god, he was great. But the little dinosaur prints, they could make little fossils and bring home fossils and handprints.
Very
and
cool.
Yeah, that was Emily.
Yeah, so it was not about excavation, it was about imprints.
Okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, the fabulous Emily Fink.
Yes, in her top hat.
In her steampunk costume. Who's like, I just threw this together. I'm like, your thrown together costume is better than anything I actually spent time on.
Yeah, I was gonna say I put mine together from thrift shop buys and a cloak, but everything. wearing was from a thrift shop.
She actually threw it together. She means like she threw the fabric on a sewing machine and then she threw
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what she means. That's what she means. Sorry, we're screening over how awesome Emily is. Here's the raisins one. I think this is this is dancing raisins. So I just love that. He's like about to pour it in. The kids are like bursting with excitement to see what happens. I love it.
Oh, very cool.
Let's see. What have we talked about? We haven't talked about all the experiments yet.
No. So we've got.
Let's see. We talked about fingerprints.
Raisins.
So you had build your own
Raisins.
neurons. Psych Curious did build your own neurons.
Yeah, let's talk.
I don't
Yeah.
have any good pictures of that.
That was right behind Khalees.
There we
There she is. That was her first customer of the morning.
Oh my
was
god.
that-
Yes.
Oh, that's a
yes.
very
that
little,
Hike.
very
Yeah,
little girl.
She showed up and we all went, "Oh my god, you're a
Yeah.
Yeah, so using pipe cleaners, they had some really intricate neurons. I think someone was wearing them as a hat at the end of the day.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do we have?
Excellent. You said the frozen strawberries, that was DNA?
DNA extraction with Lolly.
Yeah.
And then that's
Yes.
Danielle with
Yeah.
nature notebooks and leaf rubbing.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
We
It was a
took
really
off-
cool. It was a really cool way of making notebooks too.
Yes.
Because it wasn't usually when I've had kids make notebooks, you end up with yarn and stuff like that. But she had a trick where you could just cut the paper and slip it into the cuts, and it would hold together without having to make anything like binding. So I thought that was a really good trick.
Super low
remember
tech.
that
No staples, no
Yes.
string.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do not want string. You don't want.
Oh, there was Lolly. That's
There's
Yeah.
Lolly
and
with the
DNA.
strawberries.
And that's a group of adults, year-olds. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
had a
Yeah,
good.
group of adults extracting DNA.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I
coffee
remember that
filters.
one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coffee filters, strawberries. What else was in this?
Just isopropanol from the first aid aisle, some salt. We got clear laundry detergent. I mean, this is all low tech. I mean, you can do that at home. Takes about 15 minutes, maybe.
It's very cool. And I think there are preliminary plans to publish the lesson plan somewhere. We've been collecting the write-ups as well
Yes.
to share them so that people can actually do these things at home.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be
And a lot of the, stuff is out there, floating on the web, but we're going to put it all together. Lolly's taking the lead post on her blog, just so that, hey guys, if you want to do this again. And all of these, you can buy the supplies at, your grocery store or your Target/Walmart/CVS, whatever. And so they're so easy to do. And so, especially a lot of the parents that came through the slime station, I'd already pre-mixed in water bottles the colored water they can give color. So I was like, this is a good one for a birthday party. It's covered in plastic anyway.
Yeah.
People can make their own color. You see how fast it is. Everything is in the craft, aisle of your Walmart or whatever you want to go to. And the kids think it's cool because they think that, oh my gosh, this is slimy and gross and I can't believe my parents are letting me touch it. And it's just Elmer's glue. So
Yeah, right. It's fine. You can totally tell. So we have a couple comments. Michael Jobin, who I actually met at Convergence. The sandbox is always full at Convergence. That is true. Whenever there's some activity going on, it gets pretty full up. And today says we need a case or two of handy wipes at the stations. I'd say about 30.
yeah.
Over 2 ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
We were going through paper towel. Yeah, we could.
Yeah, it was a huge stack of paper towels at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. So, did we want to mention some of the fundraising things we did before we're still doing? The acts of
Yes.
whimsy, because our scientists who don't have much to offer to our donors, we don't have product necessarily.
True.
We don't have, not a lot of us, we're not all artists or anything. So we offered acts of whimsy to
Yes.
people. Maybe, so the one I ran was so those of you who subscribe to my YouTube channel, I apologize. You've seen the science Mad Libs. Very not safe for work language, but we had a blast, and that actually helped kick up our donations a bit. And then what else do we have in the works? Some really exciting acts of whimsy that will be hitting the internet soon.
We did the jig. I said if we raised
I missed the jig.
5,000. It was because I think you. But we danced the jig badly, which is the point.
It's very deliberately bad.
It's on YouTube. It was Rachel recorded it for us, but I think everyone was dancing a jig. They just weren't all dancing the same one. So that's awesome. Danielle, myself, and our friend Isis are going to be recording. Danielle's doing the reenactment of Samuel Jackson's death scene from Deep Blue Sea. We are filming that in just a few weeks. And by the way, horror reenactment, because it's the only way to do a reenactment. I believe that, Stephen is filming the big prize that I'm so excited for is Sockmetheus.
I can't wait!
Yes, we're talking sock puppets, Prometheus. It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
And much, much shorter.
I can't wait.
Whole movie in 5 minutes, yeah.
The whole movie in 5 minutes with sock puppets. I think it's a vast improvement.
I agree. I've never seen the movie, but I learned all I need to learn from a panel at Convergence.
Yes.
So
I listened to 5 Nickelback albums.
Yeah, that's right. You poor thing.
Which I think was a violation of the Geneva Convention. I'm not sure. I'm still having legal look into that.
I donated whatever I did for not Nickelback.
That's true.
Apparently
but
that didn't help.
You find out who your true friends are when everyone's like, hee, and so Matthew took lots of pictures in his hat.
Yes, public places. And got lots of people staring or trying not to look, very pointedly not looking at me.
We had one big personal donation. Our biggest personal donation got a hand-knitted, or is getting a hand-knitted pair of zombie dolls, which are adorable, and they are being knitted by Lolly. And so she is finishing those up into our largest personal donor, which was an amazing gift by this person to give us this chunk of change. And so I know Matthew, you and Inside Curious are recording your
doing a sweet song, right?
We are going to be playing and singing the song from Portal. I'm doing Science and I'm Still Alive.
Nice.
Oh yeah, this is me. This is me at NASA Wallops at the launch of the Laddie space probe to the moon. So you can see my dedication. I am there. I am with my press pass and my Cthulhu hat at an official NASA facility. That's the level of dedication I have to.
Nice.
So. Yes, but we will be recording that a week from Saturday. So
awesome.
expect quasi-professionally rendered version of it.
Wow. Okay.
The professional part is Cy. The quasi part is me.
That's fantastic. Oh my god. Yeah. So I think we really do need to collect all these onto one. One page, because
once they're all done, it'll be easy. I think.
Once they're
right now we're still doing them all, but the Acts of Whimsy, I just love them all because it's like, no, they're going to be awful, but that's the beauty of it.
and doing them actually seemed to kick up donations while we were doing it too. So that was really good. It raised awareness of the project.
People like to see us suffer. I think that's.
You're just saying that because you haven't listened to 5 Nickelback albums.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you suffered the most with that one.
Most. Absolutely.
But next year, I don't know how to top myself. Oh my God, they're gonna come out with another album, aren't they?
Probably.
Make you listen to Justin Bieber or something.
Oh. Well, you have a special personal, I don't know, hatred of Nickelback, which I think is
Let's not call it a hatred. I think it's just a proper fear from my own personal esteem.
Oh man. But and again, this is good because I know we're raising money for the Convergence events right now, and it's like, okay, we need stuff to auction off, and I'm like, I don't make things. I have to like, get people to auction on me doing something ridiculous or something. We'll figure it out. Something.
Get your husband or I should say, your almost husband to make something.
This is true.
He
No,
makes stuff. I know
he has
does.
to finish his master's.
Okay, well after that.
Priorities.
I'm not allowed to rope him into that. But yes, I do get the partner involved in making things. So
Yeah.
I'll knit something, I'm sure. Taking votes now. What do you want me to knit? What would you pay for to
Right.
bring people to
There we
Convergence?
go. Suggestions. Nominations.
Nomination.
A
Telescope
Death
could-
Star. If you knitted a Death Star, I would totally bid on that.
Come on, I'm not
A
that good
Death
of a
Star
knitter.
would be awesome.
I'm really not that good of a knitter. We'll figure it out.
It could be the Death Star after destroyed. Nobody would know.
Actually, a Death Star. You could do a Death Star hat. It's just a plain
That I could
hat
do.
with
Yeah, I can do.
the Death Ray cannon on the front of it.
This I can do. All right, I'm gonna have to find.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back on Ravelry.
I bet there's patterns. I bet there's
I'm gonna
multiple
go on
patterns.
Ravelry.
You know there is. There's
Somewhere.
probably like, what kind of Death Star hat do you want?
Yes.
All right, I think it's been decided for me. I'm making a Death Star hat.
Awesome.
Good way, and it's again, it's heartening to see the community support
Yes.
for something like this. And I don't know who all donated, but I'm sure it was not necessarily people who were going to be at the con either. It was just
No,
people from
most
all
of the
over.
people, yeah, that was the fun thing. I mean, I didn't disclose any of the personal donors because didn't have any of the clearances to do so.
Sure.
But a lot of the donors, there were people from overseas.
Wow.
And there were people who actually that I knew worked for the con because they were so excited about having this much science at the con. Most people that donated were not going to be able to attend, and that they just thought they were just wanting to be supportive of us trying to bring something of this magnitude
Mm-hmm.
into existence. And so that was really great to get that kind of support.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in this time of dire funding
Yes.
occasionally.
Yes.
Educational and/or science funding. So thank you again to all our donors. That was amazing. So, woo!
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go over the since we're close to ending time. Oh, I got a request for Cthulhu Tea Cozy.
Cthulhu Tea Cozy. Oh, that
I'll
would
find
be awesome.
something. I'll find something. I'll knit something. Not a Tom Baker scarf. Did that once. That took time. So I'm going to go over our lineup, and then I would like our guests to wrap up at the end with some final thoughts about the Science Zone. But first, we have Hangouts coming up. So Friday is the weekly Space Hangout. I think we'll be back to a normal week this week. Last week we focused all on Comet Ison, but I think we'll be going back to our usual format of doing the news. That's at noon Pacific on Friday. Sunday night is our virtual star party with Universe Today and CosmoQuest and all of the fun amateur astronomers who share their telescope views with us. And I actually joined for the first time in months last week and had such a good time. So that'll be they've changed the time because of daylight savings, so I know it's 8:30 Central, so it must be 6:30 Pacific. You can check the virtual star party page on Google Plus to confirm that time. I'm sure I'll put it in the newsletter tonight if you're subscribed to the CosmoQuest newsletter. If not, please do. Monday is Astronomy Cast, usually around 2 p.m. Fraser Kane and Dr. Pamela Gay talk about some topic in astronomy and talk about how we know what we know. And then we'll be back around to Learning Space next week, and I don't remember what topic we have. Oh, Colin Wilson! I think next week's Learning Space may be shifted to Thursday because we'll be talking with one of our local coworkers here, Colin Wilson, who runs the STEM Resource Center at which my office is part of.
Oh. What's he going to talk about?
We're going to be talking about kind of like just basics about how the Resource Center works,
Oh.
what it's like, how it's a good resource for teachers. So it's a local
Awesome.
resource, but also ways in which this idea, I think, can be expanded largely. And we'll do some fun demos because we have stuff for demos before we pack it all away and move to another building in 2 weeks. So
Last
Yay!
chance. All right.
So
Good.
that'll be next week's Learning Space on a new date. That'll be Thursday. I do shift times around to accommodate guests when we can. So sorry about that if you guys are looking forward to to a Wednesday show. So that's our upcoming lineup of hangouts with Cosmo Quest. And I would like to end with Matthew and Ray and your final thoughts on the Do-It-Yourself Science Zone. Cthulhu, want to go first?
Okay.
Okay. Well, I certainly had a wonderful time. As those of you who know me personally know, you cannot get me to shut up talking about sciencey things. So this is something that I just love doing. But I thought it was a great experience. I think it was based on what I gathered, there was not a single negative comment that we got. And people were asking us if we were going to be there next year. We've already got ideas for additional activities for next year. We talked about that, and right after it was over, we were already brainstorming ideas for next year. So we will be back. We will be bigger. We will be better. We will
Messier.
Although
I may never do
there will
Krillers
be
again.
Confetti. There will be so much
glitter.
Glitter bombs.
Glitter bombs. All right, we need to bring a shop vac next year.
Good call. No, I think the DIY Science Zone really met my two goals, which was one, to show the diversity of science itself, how many disciplines and sub-disciplines there are, and two, to show the diversity of scientists. And I think that we did that. And so I hope that we get an opportunity to do it again and to bring it to more spaces.
Yes. Excellent. I got a comment asking where's my hat. I don't have one, but I did find this very nice stuffed frog in the hallway.
Okay, that works for me.
That's my hat. Yes, this is the one that was in the candy machine earlier this week. I stole it.
We need to work on your hats then.
I know. I don't have any. I don't have any really cool hats. We need to fix that. All right. I want a My Little Pony hat.
You can borrow my Jane hat.
Oh, I have a Jane hat. That's one thing I have knitted for myself. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining, and it's good talking to you guys again. And I missed hanging out with you guys because it was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun. Thank you.
Yay. So thank you for watching, everyone, and we hope to see you next week on Learning Space.
Bye.
Bye.
At Geek Girl Con. So what is Geek Girl Con for those who don't quite know what that is?
So Geek Girl Con is an organization that focuses on the contributions of women to all kinds of geeky pursuits. So you've got the hard physical sciences, science fiction, fantasy, horror, tech, all that stuff. And of course, once a year, there's actually the con. So there's programming going on all year, and then, which seems to be now it's going to be in October, it's a 2-day conference. And so there's all types of programming. Maybe a little bit different from some other sci-fi cons is that there's a whole kind of hard physical sciences, computing, and tech programming track. In addition to pop culture, sci-fi, horror, fantasy, cosplay, all, arts and
fictional nerd pursuits.
Yes, they're all of the geek gumbo, if you will.
Yeah. I love it. So we went along to that. It was October 19th and 20th. It's in Seattle. Is it always in Seattle every year?
It is always in Seattle,
okay.
Yes.
And it was my first time at that con. So it was really fun, even though I didn't actually get to go to many of the amazing panels I saw on the program because I was playing with science. So where did you get the idea to do the Science Zone?
So last year, I was on Geek Girl Con staff. It's all volunteer staff of about 35, 45 people. And I was on staff working the con last year, and there was always a gaming zone. So this year was just
Ah, it works. Is everyone back and unmuted?
Hello. I'm here.
Need to unmute selves. Sorry, forgot that.
Hello.
Hi. All right, hello everyone, and
Year 3 of Geek Girl Con, and there, since its first start, there's always been a gaming zone, which is both tabletop games and electronic games. And it was multi-room, and they had this really cool activity where you could, with a box of, potpourri of stuff, you could build your own game. And I'm in this room thinking, oh my gosh, we need a place where you could do your own science. We need a do-it-yourself science zone, like they have the gaming zone. Yeah. And as soon as I had the idea, I told another staffer, Christine Hassel, who's the Twitter admin for Geek Girl Con, and just started harassing people and wrangling cats and getting funding together and working with the staff to get a space and start cooking up experiments. You've been to this con now, Nicole and Matthew, and cons like it. You have to really think about experiments that are not only interesting and fun, but that aren't fire hazards. Washington Convention Center does not really have a sense of humor about open sparks or flames.
Can't blame them.
And they don't really like it when you spray fun chemicals everywhere, that are bright colors or maybe glow in the dark. They don't think that that's fun either.
Has this happened in previous cons?
I'm not saying. I'm saying that.
Welcome to this week's Learning Space. I am Nicole Gugliucci, postdoc with the CosmoQuest project, and I have down at the end my lovely co-host, Georgia Bracey.
Hello there.
We are the formal and informal twin pillars of CosmoQuest education, or something like that. So, and we have with us today, we have Dr. Rubidium with her fantastic squid hat. Yay! As the coordinator who wrangled all the cats for the do-it-yourself science zone at Geek Girl Con, which we'll be talking about. And in the Cthulhu hat, we have Dr. Mr. Francis. Sorry, I'm going to call you that forever. Matthew Francis is...
It's okay, Noisy.
That's fine. Is a regular on the Weekly Space Hangout and does all the science blogging and also runs Cosmo Academy at CosmoQuest. And so you helped with the Do-It-Yourself Science Zone as well. So yay and welcome and thank you guys. So I forgot to turn on the Q&A app beforehand, so sorry about that. But you can comment, ask questions, say hello, all the usual things on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, we're watching those comments on the page there. And I'm attempting to use Comment Tracker, but it's different now, so it doesn't work as well. I'm also watching the event page. If you're watching the event page on Google+, you can comment and say hello and ask questions there as well. So please feel free to join in and share the link and do all that fun stuff. So, yay. Let's start off with the basics. We did this event